Greetings to you all. Welcome again to Dr. TSA Series, a spiritual discussion. Today, my topic is how do we distinguish dark thoughts or dark influences? This conversation is really a follow-up conversation from my previous video that I put out, which was protecting the mental border. A lot of times we have self-talk that we think is ours, but really isn't. How to distinguish the dark thoughts from your own essence thoughts is going to be very important to reclaiming your mental space and your mental clarity and obtaining more and more of your peace. Oftentimes, people come to me and tell me that they can't stop thinking. They're always in their heads, and there's constant chatter back and forth in their heads, back and forth, and they can never seem to quiet down the chatter in the mind. Now, is that really, if I should say, is that your own true thoughts? My answer is no. However, how can I help you to distinguish what is really your thoughts and that of an energy that is not beneficial to you? So let me get right into it. How do we distinguish dark thoughts or dark influence in the mind? Number one, whenever you have a thought that says, well, what if I go and do this right now? Well, what if this person really comes to me and says this? But what if this happens if I don't do this? And what if this happens if I don't do that? But what if, and what if, and what if? When you are operating in the moment and you are in touch with your essence, you will not have those kinds of experiences. The what if questions. You're not going to go back and forth in your mind. What if this and what if that? It just doesn't exist when you're operating in the moment and or when you are connected to your spirit in the moment. What if thoughts is a distraction. It's a distraction from dark influence to take you out of the moment. If you're not in the moment, then there's no way that you can be quiet enough to hear your innermost, deepest feelings that comes from your core, or to be able to hear from your higher self, or to be able to hear from your spirit guides, your spirit helpers, or any of your spiritual family and guidance from the other side. So if you're constantly what-ifing, I wonder if this, I wonder if that, what if this happens, what if that happens, you're not in the moment. So that's one way or one description that I can share with you on how to distinguish whether or not these are your thoughts, meaning your spirit thoughts, or an alternate thought, a dark thought. The purpose of the dark thought in that moment is to take you out of the moment and not to stay in the moment, not to be centered. I get a lot of questions about these what if statements, and my responses generally is the same. Of course, I expand on it because everyone is going to have a different experience, but that is the number one way that you can distinguish whether or not a thought is from your essence, from your spirit, or whether or not it's a dark thought. And that is those what if questions. Okay. Another thing or another way you can distinguish whether a thought is your thought or whether it's a thought of dark is if this thought is constantly being repetitive over and over and over again. Now, it doesn't have to be over again in that moment, but it will constantly rear its head, whether it's in the morning, whether it's at night, whether it's in the daytime, whether you're at work, whether you're at home. Somehow, some way, that thought just creeps in. And it's repetitive. It's the same thought over and over and over and over and over again. It's the same thought. The reason why you know that that thought is of dark is because darkness is not creative. Darkness does the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Darkness is not creative. And so when there is a repetitive thought that constantly is coming to your mind over and over again, know that is a thought of dark, not of your light, not of your essence. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. There was someone that I worked with who often said that right before she went to bed, the same constant dooming thought kept coming to her, and it was repetitive. And she kept thinking about it and kept thinking about it and kept thinking about it. And she then realized that that was not her thought, that was a dark thought. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 1, if the thoughts are what if questions, and number 2, if the thought is repetitive. Number 3, if a thought is going to make you fearful and you're scared about something that might happen, or something that's going to happen, or something that you think is going to occur. Any kind of thought that you have that is a fearful thought is not of your spirit. Your spirit is not going to make you fearful. Your spirit is not going to make you fear things. You can't fear something or fear that something will happen if it hasn't happened. Once it's happening, you're not fearful of it. It's happening. You're in the moment when you're experiencing something. It's when you're out of the moment and you're in constant fear, scared about something that may not happen, right? Or may happen. You're not in the moment. And so that's darkness's way of taking you out of the moment, from hearing from your spirit, from hearing from your core. So that's number 3. If you're constantly having fears, thoughts of fearful things that may happen or may not happen, or preparing for a meeting and what you think is going to happen when you get there late, or what you think is going to happen when you mess up, or when you're going out with some friends and you think you're going to fall, or you think something is going to happen, you're not in the moment. You're out of the moment. You're in your head. You're in this self-talk roller coaster that you're on, and you're robbing yourself of the moment. So understand that if you have any thoughts that is of fear, know that that is a thought of dark. So that was number 3. Number 4, if you're worrying about the past or the future, you're not in the moment. Darkness is making you think about fearful things of the past, or fearful things in the future, or what you think will happen, or what you're not in the moment. So it's yet another distraction. It's another distraction from you being able to sit within your core and pay attention to any of the messages that you're getting from your spirit. So know that if it's a distraction and you're not in the moment, that it's of dark. Anything that takes you from the moment, that's going to distract you from your spirit, is not beneficial. So when you think about wanting to fight, in one of the series or one of the discussions that I've had in the past, I've spoken about fighting those thoughts. You want to fight. Get out of that space, stay in the moment, regain your mental clarity, regain your mental space. so that you can allow for your spirit to speak to you, or feel from your spirit, or garner some assistance from your spirit, garner hearing from your voice, being patient in the moment and waiting for your spirit to tell you what it is your spirit needs to tell you. So I've listed 5 points to help you to distinguish whether or not you are operating in the moment, in your space, in your core, in your light, or whether your thoughts are influenced by dark. You want to pay very close attention to your self-talk, because a lot of that self-talk is not coming from your core. Once you're able to achieve an understanding of your own mental space, once you're able to achieve and know the voice of your spirit, you will then begin to experience peace. No more chatter in the mind. And when you establish and gain that peace within, life takes on a totally different new meaning. It takes on new meaning. It takes on a new journey, and you begin to discover more of who you are. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. I love you always. Namaste.